Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truth.org. Today is January 31st of 2026. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears that CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to stage World War III, or the beginning of World War III. During the live broadcast of UFC 325 in Sydney, Australia. This fight is going to be aired on Paramount Plus, which is a global streaming platform. And so upwards of 1 billion viewers is expected globally. And it's likely based off the last event, which was the first ever event on Paramount Plus. The UFC fight had the single largest viewership. So this fight is taking place in Sydney, Australia, and it is going to be Sunday morning in Australian time, and the rest of the world is going to be January 31st. So this impending attack that's going to trigger World War III is going to happen during the live broadcast of this. And I'm calling this video World War Z because the number 21, the date of February 1st, the 2 equates to the letter Z symbolically, and the I equates, the number 1 equates to the letter I. And so this is spelling Z, and Z is equates to the it's a 26th letter in the alphabet, which equates to the letter Z. And this is an acronym for Zionism. And coincidentally, Sydney was home to an alleged anti-Semitic attack targeting Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia, back on, I believe it was December 14th, the first day of Hanukkah. And so that was a blood sacrifice that was offered up to this impending attack. Now, the UFC fight itself could be attacked. I'm going to address that in a secondary video. But basically, the CIA is going to trigger a war with Iran or a war with Russia during the live broadcast of UFC 325 on the morning of February 1st of 2026. So exactly what type of attack or terror event is going to spawn World War III is obviously not known, but we can expect some sort of act of war. This could be a possible shoot down of an airplane, a sinking of a ship, some sort of false flag terror attack, possibly a 9/11 style attack, suicide bombing, a full-scale invasion, which is likely, some sort of storming attack where special forces seize a ship, a plane, a Capitol building, a tourist location, or some sort of strategic bombing attack where basically bombs start dropping from the sky. Or this could be also a naval barrage where the CIA orders Iran or Russia to basically shoot a bunch of missiles and bombs and rockets into a city or a Capitol building or a tourist location. But what we do know, because obviously we don't know what they're planning, but what we do know is that it's going to be CBRN in nature, and that's a military term for chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear in nature, because this is specifically designed to trigger or spawn a second global biological pandemic, violate the Chemical Weapons Convention agreements, which Israel is currently not party to, and trigger World War III. So as I mentioned, the date of February 1st, 2-1, is symbolically the 2 is a Z, and the number 1 is an I. So this spells Z, which is the 26th letter in the alphabet, which is an acronym for Zionism. And that is the political motivation. So basically, the first Jewish state of Switzerland, in Geneva, their headquarters, CIA headquarters in Geneva, has ordered Tel Aviv and their Zionist warmongers, both Zelensky in Ukraine and Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel. They have they have alerted them, likely in the last 48 hours, 72 hours, of this plot that they are going to champion. And this plot is going to bring the world to a very dark place. And they have, both of them are rabid Zionists. They're both war criminals, and they both are hell-bent on taking the United States to World War III with either Iran or Russia. And the 21st letter in the English alphabet is the letter U, and the letter U is spelled with a Y-E-W because the letter Y also doubles as the letter J. So this is where we get the word Jew from, and that's why it's symbolic, because the U is the holster on the cow. So it's a symbol of domination. I'm not going to get into it, but it's the bull with the thing around its neck. And then, of course, 2 ones, which is 21, equates to the number 11, and that number is symbolic of the Torah, the scroll of the Torah. And this notion is corroborated by the fact that the 21st, or the February 1st, is the 32nd day of the year, and of course the number 3 equates to the letter C. And then the number 2 was originally a V in the English or the Roman score, so when we have and the original 3 was a C, and then we have this, and this forms the Jewish Star of David, and that's why we get Shiva, C-V, Shiva, and this is why there's a Shiva statue outside of CIA headquarters at Lake Geneva in Switzerland, and that is the god of destruction. And so this is a day of destruction that is going to befall mankind on this particular date of February 1st of 2026. Okay, so really quick, in respect to the the impending NATO-Russo war, I have been saying this for a long time, thinking it for much longer, but I have came to the realization that the deaths coming out of Ukraine are hyperinflated. They're saying that 5,000 a week, 30,000, 25,000 a month, and I don't see any video evidence of this whatsoever. We just saw a live stream genocide in Gaza where there's no internet access, where there's no computers, or where there's no nothing. And so the fact that we can't get any footage of these mass casualties coming out of Ukraine obviously begs the question why. The CIA has been claiming that, well, according to Wikipedia, approximately 70,000 to 140,000 Ukrainians have died in this war against Russia. I believe that these deaths that are being reported by Zelensky is because they have developed what's called a shadow army. So they have a group, I believe it's about 150,000 Ukrainian soldiers that are going to be dressed up in Russian uniforms and are going to be used in a major false flag. I've made many videos about this recently. They are going to use this one of two ways. They're going to drop these, I believe that these, a majority of these troops have been trained as paratroopers. So they're going to drop them behind Russian lines, the NATO-Russo border, which spans from Finland through Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia down through Poland and Belarus and into Ukraine. So they're going to drop them on the Russian side and have them attack European nations as a false flag against Russia to make it appear as a full-scale Russian invasion. Or they'll drop them on the NATO side of the Russo-NATO border, and then they'll storm into Russia, and it'll look like a NATO attack. Either way, they're going to be used and they're going to be wearing Russian uniforms, and Ukrainian sounds just like Russian. And if you're not a native speaker like myself, I couldn't tell the difference, and you'd have to live in that area or grow up with that language to know the difference. So if you see a bunch of guys wearing Russian uniforms speaking Ukrainian, you're going to think they're Russian. So some sort of major offensive on the NATO-Russo front is expected, and this is going to trigger the mutually assured destruction scenario whereby Russia nukes Europe and the United States, and the United States nukes Russia, and then we're going to have all-out World War III. Coincidentally, the date of February 1st, 2026 marks exactly 4,364 days since the Russo-Ukrainian War commenced, with the Russian annexation of Crimea back on February 20th of 2014. And this, of course, the number 44 is, of course, Obama, who's the one that started this war. That's his number 44. He's the 44th president. And then you have 36, which is 666. 3 times 6 is 666. Obama is the beast. So this has Obama numerology. Also, the number 44 is DD, as in dead and died, and then of course 36 is a esoteric number that is known as the Mark of the Beast, obviously. So this is obviously, I believe that once this Russo-Ukrainian war starts, or Russo-NATO war starts, that Putin will be labeled the Antichrist, but that's a different story for a different day. Also, the date of February 1st marks exactly 2,449 days since Zelensky became president of Ukraine back on May 20th of 2019. Of course, 24 equates to letter X, which is the international symbol of death. We have the number 44 again, and then we have the number 49, which equates to DI, as in die. So there's also the possibility, this distinct possibility, because the CIA has tried this scenario recently, is to stage a NATO attack on Russia, preemptive attack on Russia, possibly striking naval bases such as Sevastopol and the North Fleet headquarters, and so they used previously the British Royal Air Force launched 3 Storm Shadow cruise missile strikes targeting the aforementioned Sevastopol, the Black Sea Fleet headquarters in Sevastopol, Crimea, Ukraine. And of course, if they attack a Russian naval base, the CIA will likely stage the explosion, a nuclear explosion, and claim that they hit a Russian submarine. Okay, really quick, in respect to the impending Iranian war, which may start between Israel and Iran, or between the United States and Iran. Some sort of false flag, act of war, terror attack, bombing is expected, targeting United States Armed Forces military bases in the Middle East and or the greater Mediterranean region, possibly also targeting ships and submarines in that area of the Arabian Sea, the Red Sea, the Gulf of Oman, the Gulf of Aden, the Persian Gulf, and or the Mediterranean Sea. Coincidentally, we have the USS Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier, along with the carrier Strike Group 3, which is, according to the latest reports, I wasn't able to verify it yet, but there's approximately 10 ships that have an armada that is currently off the coast of Iran. And so what's going to happen is obviously not known. I've published multiple reports for multiple scenarios, how this is going to play out. There's the possibility of them staging a coalition of the willing type attack on Iran, such as Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, etc. Jordan going into Iran with an aerial bombing campaign that would likely be followed by a second wave of Israeli strikes, or ballistic missile strikes or cruise strikes, and that the United States would go in and do the heavy lifting and bunker buster bomb these nuclear sites and kill Khamenei, who has since recently has reportedly gone into a bunker, a bomb shelter. And of course, if this happens, it's imperative to note that the CIA is going to detonate a bunch of so-called nuclear explosions in Iran. And this is going to trigger World War III. Obviously, if the United States or Israel, attacks Iran, there's a high likelihood that China and Russia are going to attack U.S. military bases in Europe, Mediterranean, or the Middle East, or China could attack U.S. armed forces in the Asia-Pacific theater. So, at some point, this situation is they're going to stage some sort of an event, and I believe it's going to happen during the live broadcast of UFC 325, which would be about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, Middle East Iranian time. This could be some sort of a 9/11 style kamikaze suicide drone bombing attack, ballistic missile strikes, cruise missile strikes, IBM strikes, 9/11 style nuclear attacks, suicide bombings, vehicle-borne truck bombings, ship-borne bombings, but some sort of major event designed to spark World War III between Iran, the United States, and Israel is expected on the morning or the date of February 1st of 2026. Obviously, again, this is going to be chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear nature. In respect to the previous NATO-Russo war, it's also going to be CBRN in nature, possibly featuring the mass dispersal of choking agents, blood agents, nerve agents, and this could be stratospheric injections, this could be gravity bombs, this could be rocket attacks, but some sort of major event is expected. Given the numerology and given the desperation of the CIA to trigger World War III, it's also possible that the CIA would stage some sort of other war during this live broadcast or other terror attack. But an Indo-Pakistani war or a North Korea-South Korea war is also a possibility, but I believe that the NATO-Russo war and the Iranian war is what's on the table for February 1st. Obviously, this is coming out of Geneva, Switzerland, who controls both Zelensky, and they control Russia in a de facto manner because in eastern Russia, there is a Russian state, which most people have no idea about, and it's called Jewish Autonomous Oblast. So Switzerland was the first Jewish state that was created circa 1309, and in 48, Israel was formed, but Jewish Autonomous Oblast was formed in 1934. So they have there's three Jewish states in the world right today. Two of them are secret, one of them is known, and they work in tandem. They form a triangle, and that's the Star of David. That's one of the stars of David, and then they work together because they control Switzerland, which controls world banking, all world government. Then they control Russia, which is the single largest country in the world, with the single largest military in the world, man-wise, or the most powerful. And then they control the Jewish state of Israel, which is in the Middle East, which controls that whole region. So they have multiple spheres of control, which form a triangle, and they work in tandem, and they're going to use these three countries on the date of February 1st to trigger World War III. So obviously that cannot be allowed to happen. So if the CIA stages any sort of act of war, which leads to or terror attack, which leads to a second global biological pandemic, or a World War III, or a declaration of war in any form or fashion, I kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets. Peace.